All right, thank you. Please be seated. Good morning to the jury. We're prepared to proceed with the presentation of evidence from Anissa Weier. So, Attorney Smith, do you have further witnesses to call?
Yes, we're going to call Detective Shelley Fisher. And just before I go out to get her, I wanted to confirm something.
I think she's coming in.
Okay. While she's going up to the stand, Judge, I want to make sure that when we're referring to the victim, we use the required manner in which the court wants us to do that. Should we use the initials PL, or are we free to use the first name?
I think the first name is fine.
Okay.
Then, Detective, could you stand and raise your right hand? Clerk will swear you in.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you. Then pull up to the microphone and state your full name and spell your last name.
Shelley Fisher. It's Shelley Fisher.
All right, thank you. Attorney Smith.
Okay. Detective Fisher, can you tell me how you're employed?
I am a detective with City of Waukesha Police Department.
And how long have you been a detective?
About 13 years.
How long have you been employed with the police department?
I'm on my 24th year at City of Waukesha.
Okay, and were you employed and working on May 31st of 2014?
Yes, I was employed there. I don't believe I worked on the 31st.
Okay, were you called into work for some reason on that day?
No.
Okay. Did you become involved in the investigation of that stabbing that took place on May 31st, 2014?
Yes.
When did you become involved?
I was involved a couple days later when I interviewed, I'm sorry, can I say the name?
Oh, the judges allowed us to say the first name.
Okay, I interviewed Payton.
Okay. And before you interviewed her, did you do were you involved in any other way in the investigation?
No.
Okay. You, would this refresh your recollection, did you interview her on June 6, 2014?
Yes.
Okay. And were you assigned to do a forensic interview with her?
Yes.
And are you trained and certified to do interviews of children?
Yes, I am.
Well, and what type of training is involved in that?
It's 2 classes that you go through. I went through the first class in 2006, and I was certified in 2009.
Okay. Let me ask you this. As a part of that training, are you trained to do, I guess, what's called open-ended questions?
Yeah, at that time we were using the stepwise interview system.
Okay. And can you describe what that means a bit?
It's a system used to elicit the story from the child, so you're not using direct questions or leading questions.
Okay, because you want to hear what happened from the point of view of the child that you're talking to, correct?
Yes.
And I think that technique was developed because children are kind of susceptible of being, I guess, influenced by questions that you might ask if they're kind of like leading questions.
Sure.
Okay. You had a chance to review your
Maybe a hearing problem.
Oh. All right, excuse me. All right, very good. The courts are equipped with fairly modern evidence presentation equipment, and part of it is when we have someone that has any hearing impairment, we can give them wireless headphones to wear. And generally, if they're all working right, it helps the person hearing. So that's true for members of the jury, and it's also true for anyone in the gallery. If anyone has any hearing impairments and you believe you need those headphones, let one of the bailiffs know. Ma'am, how's it working? All right, thank you.
And ma'am, thanks for bringing that to our attention. Appreciate it. Do you have a good recollection of the interview that you had with Payton on June 6, 2014?
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about what she told you happened on May 30th, 2014. Did she tell you about a sleepover at Morgan's house?
Yes, she did.
Okay, did she tell you what happened the morning of May 31st, 2014?
Yes.
And did she tell you about going to like a park near her Morgan's home on that day?
Yes.
Did she tell you how she got to the park?
They walked.
Okay. Did she tell you anything about like, who may have suggested that they go over to the park?
She said it was Morgan's idea.
And did she tell you about going into any type of building while they were in the park?
Yes, a bathroom.
Okay. And did she tell you about going into any like stall in that bathroom?
Yes.
And did she tell you about why she went into the stall?
She was asked to go into the stall by Morgan. Morgan said that she wanted to show her and Anissa some vandalism that was inside a toilet bowl.
And did she tell you what happened while she was in that bathroom stall?
So the three of them went into this stall, and once the three of them entered the stall, Morgan locked the stall and said that she had lied, that there really wasn't any vandalism in the toilet bowl.
Okay. And did she tell you anything about being in like a corner of that bathroom stall?
She told Payton that she needed to sit in the corner of the stall up against the wall.
Okay. And what happened after did she tell you what happened after she moved over to the corner of the stall?
She was told that she needed to go to sleep.
Okay. Did she say anything about someone locking the bathroom stall?
Yes, Morgan did lock the bathroom stall.
Okay. And did she say anything about being grabbed while she was in there?
Yes. Morgan had first grabbed her arms and put them behind her back and just held them there, and then Anissa stood in front of her and kind of just stared at her.
Okay. Did she say anything about what happened after Morgan grabbed her arms?
Morgan said to Anissa, "I thought we agreed that you were going to do this."
And I believe you said that Anissa was standing in front of Payton at the time that Morgan said that?
Yes.
Did she tell you what happened, if Morgan did anything after that?
She said that she needed to talk to Anissa in the next stall over.
Okay. Did she say anything else about what happened after Anissa and Morgan talked in the stall next to her?
They came back in the same stall that Payton was in, and then this time Anissa held Payton's arms behind her back, and then Morgan stood in front of her and stared at her.
While Anissa was sitting next to her, did Anissa do something to her? Did she say that?
Yes.
And what did she say Anissa did?
She said that she hit her to the front of her head very hard, which caused the back of her head to hit against the wall.
Okay. And did they actually stab her in that bathroom stall?
No.
Okay, what happened?
Payton said that she was not going to go to sleep, and Morgan said, "Why don't you just go out and play?" So Payton went out on the playground equipment to play.
Okay. So they eventually left that bathroom and went back outside, correct?
Yes.
And did they at any point, or did she tell you at any point, what happened after they were all three out of that bathroom building?
After they were all out of the bathroom, they were back on the playground equipment for a short time, and then it was suggested that they go for a walk.
Okay. And did they go to the woods at any point?
Yes, then they took a walk over to a wooded area next to the park.
Okay. And while they were there, did they play any games? Did she say whether or not they played any games?
Hide and seek.
Okay. And did she tell you like who suggested playing hide and seek?
She said Anissa did.
Okay. And Did she say to you whether or not something bad happened to her while they were playing hide and seek?
Yes.
And what did she say happened?
She said that Morgan had stabbed her.
Did she say whether or not Morgan said anything to her before doing it?
Yes.
And what did Payton say Morgan said before doing it?
Morgan had approached her. Payton was lying on her back. So Morgan sat on her legs, and then she got real close to her, and she said, "I'm sorry," and then she started stabbing her.
Okay, so before she started stabbing her, she said, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I believe she said, "I'm so sorry."
Did she say whether Morgan said anything to her after doing it?
Yes.
And what did she say that Morgan said?
Morgan said that she had to do this in order to save her life.
Okay. And did Morgan eventually start talking to you about the creepypastas?
Payton?
Excuse me, yes, Payton, I'm sorry.
Yes, she did.
And what did she say about Morgan's involvement in the creepypasta website?
She said that Morgan was extremely obsessed with creepypasta.
And did she say about when she thought Morgan became obsessed with the creepypasta?
She estimated in January or February of 2014.
And is this her exact word? She said that Morgan began getting obsessed with creepypasta. Is that exactly what she said?
Yes.
Okay. Did she say anything about how Morgan, if Morgan changed in any way after she became obsessed with creepypasta?
Yes, she said she became scarier and scarier and weirder.
Did she say anything about whether or not Morgan ever shared any of the things that she discovered in terms of creepypasta pictures or links with her?
Yes.
And what did she say was shared with her?
She said that Morgan would repeatedly email her pictures of creepypasta characters. There was one in particular that she said Morgan knew that Payton didn't like this character, and so she was purposely emailing this photo of this character to her in order to scare her.
Okay. So Payton didn't like the creepypasta pictures.
No.
Did she make any additional comments about the extent of Morgan's interest in creepypasta?
That she was doing a lot of research on it, that Morgan wanted to prove that it was real.
And did she say that Morgan was obsessed with everything to do with creepypasta?
Yes.
Did she say that Morgan discussed it at lunch?
Yes.
Did there come a point where Morgan shared with Payton proof that creepypasta was real?
I don't know that there was actual proof that she showed her, but she was trying to prove to her that it was real.
Okay. Did Payton say that Morgan tried to prove to her that it was real by printing out newspaper articles and pictures to prove that the creepypasta characters were real?
Yes.
How did Payton react to the proof that Morgan was sending her?
She was very scared by it. She was told by Morgan that this character would come into her room at night and kill her. So she locked her windows. She had the curtain down. She would face away from the window when she was sleeping. She would have her door locked. She also went to her mom and told her mom what was happening, and she was wondering if her mom knew if this was real or not.
Did she and her mother eventually do their own research to see if any of the characters were real?
Yes.
And is that what Payton told you?
Yes.
And after they did their research, did Payton indicate whether or not she was still convinced that the characters were not real?
She said her mom said she could not find any evidence that this was real, but she still felt that she wondered why Morgan would say this, that she kind of wanted to believe what Morgan was saying.
So Payton herself was still not convinced that it was not real.
Yes,
Did Payton talk about Anissa?
yes,
Did she say whether or not Anissa was into the creepypastas?
she said she was.
And did she say anything about how Anissa behaved when she was around Morgan?
She said that Anissa was different when she was around Morgan.
So how did she describe what Anissa's like when she's around Morgan?
She said that Anissa was rude, that she would say bad words, and that she would hit people.
But how did she describe Anissa when Anissa was not around Morgan?
Oh, said Anissa was much nicer, a lot easier to be around. She had started to apologize for hitting Payton and saying mean things to her.
You, in addition to interviewing Payton, I believe you were given some other assignments as a part of the investigation, correct?
Yes,
Did you at any point have contact with the school that Anissa and Morgan attended?
yes.
And how did you make arrangements to go to the school?
Actually, the administration from the school contacted me to come over to the school.
Okay, and they wanted you to come over to the school because they were preparing to do what?
They were going to go through the lockers of the 3 students.
Okay, and were you able to actually go there and be there while they were going through the lockers?
Yes.
And when you went there to go through the lockers with them, what was your plan? What was your purpose in doing that?
Just to see if there was anything in the lockers that would be related to the stabbing incident.
Okay, so when you went to the locker and you looked through Anissa's locker and you then looked through Morgan's locker, your purpose was not to grab everything in that locker, right?
Correct.
Your purpose was to grab only those items that you thought had some significance to the stabbing and the creepypasta characters, correct?
Yes.
Object that it's leading, Judge.
Okay. So,
Wait just a minute. While it is leading, but based upon the nature of this testimony, the question and answering, I'll overrule the objection, but I'll just caution counsel on leading.
okay. So, were you able to do an inventory of items found in the locker that you thought were relevant to the investigation?
Yes.
And did you do, like, I guess what's called property inventories of the things that you thought were relevant?
Yes.
Please tell me we're not going through. Was that previously marked?
It is. I'm grabbing Exhibit G.
All right,
And Judge, can I approach the witness?
you may.
Detective Fisher, I'm going to show you an exhibit that's marked Exhibit G. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
It also has on the front property inventory, I believe it's 56.
Yes.
And are you the person that put that property inventory sticker and number on there?
I would have created this sticker, yes.
Okay. And I want you to look through what's been marked as Exhibit G really quickly. Look through all of the pages that are there. Okay. And I want to start off by asking you if you recognize the pages that are Exhibit G
Yes,
Okay, and are those items that you recovered during a part of the locker searches that you did at the school?
yes.
The pages that you see there, do you know where they came from?
This was a notebook that says notebook containing drawing located in Anissa Weier's school locker.
And what you have there, does that represent all of the pages that were in that notebook?
I believe so.
Let me ask you this, were there some pages in that notebook that were blank?
Yes,
Okay. So this is not everything that was included in that notebook, right?
I don't know because there's a blank page that's included in here.
But you do know that this is the notebook that you recovered out of Anissa's locker?
Yes,
Okay. And when you went to the school, were you provided information about the circumstances of the stabbing on May 31st?
yes,
And were you aware that there was information about either Slender Man or creepypasta having some significance?
yes,
Okay, so when you looked through Anissa's locker, were you looking for items that may have some sort of reference to creepypasta?
creepypasta, yes,
Creepypasta, excuse me. Were you?
yes.
Okay. And I want to, if you don't mind, I want to grab Exhibit G back from you. I'm going to put a few pages up on the document scanner, the document viewer. First page I want you to look at is a page that has the words "always watches" on it. You included that as a part of your property inventory. In your mind, when you did that phrase have some significance to you?
I felt that it did.
And did it have some significance because of its relationship to Slender Man?
Yes.
And what is about this phrase that made you think it has some reference to the Slender Man character?
I saw it repeatedly in other areas, so I thought it was related. I'm aware that Slender Man is supposed to not have any eyes.
But is it also a part of that Slender Man idea that he sees everyone, sees everything?
Yes.
I'll show you also what appears to be a drawing of a person with no face. Is this something that you also thought has some significance to the Slender Man character?
Yes, I did.
And why is that?
Because it looks to be like a figure without a face.
And that's what Slender Man is described as?
Yes.
Objection leading.
Okay, so let me ask this. Is that what Slender Man is described as?
Yes.
I'll also show you this. You also copied and inventoried, should say inventoried this. Why did you inventory this?
To me, it looks like a person that has blood on their torso.
And the items that you just went over, these are things that were found in Anissa's locker in her Spanish notebook.
Yes.
Detective, I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit H. Have you had a chance to look at it all?
Yes.
Okay. And were you were there when these documents were recovered from one of the lockers at the school?
Yes.
And whose locker were these items recovered from?
Morgan's.
Okay. And this is items that were found and what?
In a notebook.
Okay. And after you found these in her locker, did you property inventory this notebook as well?
Yes,
Okay, and it looks like, again, this is a science notebook?
yes.
And you property inventory this item. Is it because you thought that there were items in here that were references to Slender Man?
Yes.
I want to go through a few of the pages in that exhibit with you as well. This first page I'm going to show you, it said, at the top it says defenses slender. And did you believe that was relevant, of course, because it has the name Slender at the top?
Yes.
And what did you think when you saw this that the writings meant?
Obviously something about Slender Man. It talks about Slender Man in the next sentence, and some of the characters involved with Slender Man and Creepypasta.
Okay. And did the phrase defenses take on any meaning to you when you were considering its reference to relationship to Slender Man characters?
I understand it's from defenses for Slender Man.
So where it says Masky and Hoodie offer cheesecake, what did you think that meant in relationship to defenses for Slenders?
That you're supposed to give that to the character Masky and Hoodie.
And for Slender Man up at the top, it says run like hell. What do you think that meant in relationship to defenses against Slender Man?
I'm guessing that if you see him, you should run away.
Okay. So this appears to be a list of things to do to protect yourself if you come into contact with these creepypasta characters.
Yes.
Next page at the top, it says supplies necessary.
Yes.
And did that take on any type of significance in terms of your investigation into this case?
Yes, I was aware that Morgan and Anissa were planning to go to a forest, and because it says map of forest and supplies necessary, I believe that this was related to their intent of going to this forest.
Okay. And I think one of the notations on here relates back to the exhibit that we just looked at earlier. It says cheesecake Masky Hoodie.
Yes.
Right? So that's in reference to the defense against those two creepypasta characters.
Yes.
Show you this document. It says he still, and at the bottom, sees you with a circle and two X's. Why was that significant in terms of your belief that it had a connection to Slender Man?
I believe that it may be related to Slender Man, as it appears to be a face with the X's as being eyes, and the character does not supposed to have eyes.
Okay. And it also says that he, still is able to see even though he doesn't have eyes, correct?
Correct.
And that's something that Slender Man's able to do even though he doesn't have eyes, correct?
That would be my understanding.
And this one says, never at the top, alone. And then in the middle, there's a circle with an X. Does that circle with an X have any reference to Slender Man?
I'm not sure if it does or not. Again, it has that same X, so I don't know if that represents an eye or something of that nature with
Yeah.
Slender Man.
In your research into the Slender Man, is this a symbol that you see a lot in relationship to the Slender Man character?
Yes.
Okay. This document here, it says he cannot be harmed, and at the bottom, again, there's those circles with the X, correct?
Correct.
And again, you found through your research into Slender Man that the circle and the X, it has some significance to the Slender Man character?
Yes.
This document here says no more secrets, and then at the bottom, there's this, for better words, kind of like stick figure with lines going, 3 lines going, extending from the body out to the side.
Yes.
And that stick figure, did that have any sort of significance to you?
To me, I thought it represented Slender Man because, again, you have the outline of a body, there's no face, and then apparently Slender Man sometimes may have like tentacles that come out from his back, and that could be interpreted from the drawing.
This document here said he never comes, and it has that circle and the X.
Yes.
And that, again, has some significance in relationship to the Slender Man character.
Yes.
This document here has the word safe at the top. And then underneath, there appears to be what looks like a tower. Is that what it is?
I think it could be interpreted as a tower.
And doing your research into the Slender Man character, did a tower begin to have some sort of significance to Slender Man?
It was my understanding that Morgan and Anissa were going to these woods to where they expected to find a tower.
Okay, and the tower, did it have any sort of significance as a place to go if you encounter Slender Man?
Yes.
And was it considered something of a safe place?
I believe so.
And then that's why the word safe is written probably right above this tower.
Objection, it calls for speculation, Judge.
Sustained.
Detective Fisher, I want to show you what's been marked as Exhibit K. Give me a second to take a look at Exhibit K. So, Detective, is Exhibit K something that you found in one of the lockers at the school?
Yes, in Morgan's locker.
Okay, and Exhibit K is an item that you property inventoried as what number again?
66.
Okay, and again, your reason for collecting those documents is it because you thought that they had some reference to the Slender Man character?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to show you a few other documents that included in that exhibit. So this first picture is a picture of a person with face, no eyes. And why did you think that has some significance to the creepypasta website?
Again, just with the character of Slender Man not having a face or eyes.
Next thing I want to show you is looks like a writing of some sort. And at the top, there's a reference to Jeffrey Woods.
Yes.
And why did you think that has some significance to the creepypasta website?
I'm not sure with this. It looks like a story.
Is there a character in the Creepypasta website named Jeff the Killer?
Yes.
Okay, and is that name in any way connected to Jeff the Killer?
You know, I can't really read a lot of the writing in here, but on the top of this page, it says Jeffrey Woods.
This document here, it has some writing in the, kind of like near the center that says, you are a strange child. It will be of my use. And then there's this figure in the bottom corner. Did this have some significance to Slender Man for you?
I think that could be interpreted as a character related to Slender Man, again, with the tentacles that appear to be coming out from the back.
Okay. And it looks like just to the left of that is a circle with an X as well.
Yes.
And that's also commonly found in relationship to the Slender Man character?
Yes.
And this says Slender Parodies. So it's, in your view, since it's titled Slender Parodies, did you think it has some relationship to the Slender Man character?
Yes.
This document here, there looks to be a drawing of a person, a face, no eyes, no nose, no mouth, and then some tendrils or tentacles coming out from the body. Did that drawing have some significance in relationship to the Slender Man character for you?
Yes, again, just because of the tentacles coming out of the back.
This document here, again, it has the word safe on it, and there's a drawing that looks like a tower. Did that have some significance for you in terms of its relationship to the Slender Man character?
I'll object, Judge, because we've asked these questions about a picture that's almost identical to that.
I'll overrule it's a different picture, even though I agree with your analysis of it. I'll overrule the objection.
Yes, it looks like the previous pictures that it could be interpreted as a tower and the word safe on there.
And this picture here has that circle, X, can't run. That's seen a lot in reference to the Slender Man character.
Yes.
And this picture here has always watches, no eyes, face, 2 X's for eyes. That's something that you believe has a reference to the Slender Man character?
Yes.
This picture here, it has can at the top, run at the bottom, has a circle in the center with an X in that circle, and then it has what looks like a figure that appears to be Slender Man, has a tower in the right corner with safe, and then it has what looks like to be trees. And that drawing, did it, in your opinion, have a reference to the Slender Man character?
Yes.
Because all of those things are what we've gone over in previous documents all together on one document, right?
Yes.
Okay. Detective, I'm going to show you what's marked as Exhibit I. Give you a chance to review that. Okay. And is that items that you recover from one of the lockers at the school?
Yes, from Morgan's.
Okay. I want to show you some of the pages quickly that are in Exhibit I. First one I'm going to show you, at the top of it, it says IR 14-27629, IR 14-2769, 629, PI number 62. And that appears to be another drawing of a tower.
Yes.
This item here, at the top left, there's a circle and an X. Does that appear to be another one of the Slender Man symbols?
Yes.
When you were reviewing the documents that you found in those lockers, did you find in any of the items that you recovered reference to hide and seek?
Yes, I believe there was some writing in that notebook there,
And that
possibly.
was a phrase that you saw and found in some of the creepypasta related items that you found?
I don't know what you mean by the creepypasta. I just saw it written in there.
Okay, and it was written in there with some of the other drawings that you found with the Slender Man symbol and the Slender Man figures that you found?
Yes.
During a part of your investigation into this case, did you at any point go online to check the Creepypasta Wiki website yourself?
No.
Detective, as a part of your investigation into this case, did you have an occasion to talk to Payton's mom?
Yes.
And did you ever talk to Payton's mom about anything that Morgan may have done in the house when she was there for a visit?
I don't recall that.
Okay, do you recall any sleepover where something unusual happened with Morgan inside the home?
Inside Payton's home?
Or inside Morgan's home? Either one of the homes.
From Payton's mother? Is that what you're asking?
Yep, that's correct.
I don't recall.
Okay. Is there any reference to anything that happened in a basement while Payton and Morgan were together?
The night of the sleepover for the birthday party, they were playing video games.
Did anyone bring to your attention anything related to any fire at any point?
I'm going to object this leading.
I will, it is leading, but I'm recognizing the context of the examination in that question, so I'll overrule the objection. But I will caution all attorneys to, on direct exam, to follow the proper procedure.
As a part of your investigation, did you become aware of anything related to maybe a fire that occurred in the basement?
Not an actual fire. Payton had said that Morgan was playing a video game it's Sims, a Sims video game, and so Sims are characters that you can control, and you build like an environment for them. And Payton had commented that Morgan was playing this game with her Sims characters and said that she was going to starve the Sims characters and then set their house on fire.
I don't have any further questions, Judge.
All right, thank you. A cross-examination.
Good morning, Detective Fisher.
Good morning.
Where did you interview Payton?
At Waukesha Memorial Hospital.
What day was that? Do you remember?
I believe it was the 6th. I believe it was the 6th of June.
6th of June, 2014?
I believe so.
So roughly 6 or 7 days after the stabbing occurred? Is that
Yes.
right? Payton was still in the hospital?
Yes.
She had some pretty significant injuries.
Yes.
Where in the hospital did you interview her?
In her hospital room.
Okay. Where was she when you interviewed her?
She was sitting in a wheelchair.
Did you observe any injuries on her when you interviewed her?
Yes, she had some, she was wearing a t-shirt and some leggings, and so her arms were exposed, so she did have some healed wounds on her arms.
Why did you go to the hospital and interview her there rather than waiting until she would be discharged to interview her somewhere else?
Well, we didn't know exactly when she was going to be released due to her injuries, and we were aware that there was a lot of media attention regarding the case, and the family was fearful about going out in public and people seeing her, and she was anxious about what happened, that we kind of wanted to limit it, that media and other people weren't trying to find her, and just to kind of give her a little extra protection.
And you recorded the interview with her, right?
Yes.
She told you all about what led up to that stabbing, right?
Yes.
She told you how it was Anissa that suggested they play hide and seek.
Yes.
Morgan was the counter.
Yes.
Anissa took her deeper into the woods to hide.
Yes.
When Morgan came to where they were located, Morgan sat on Payton's legs, right?
Yes.
And you told us that Payton told you Morgan leaned forward and whispered to her, "I'm so sorry."
Yes.
Payton told you that Anissa just stood there watching.
Yes.
Payton told you that Morgan said she had to do it.
Yes.
Morgan told Payton it was the only way to save Payton's life.
Yes.
Payton told you at that point that she, Payton, could have died.
Yes.
Payton recognized that.
Yes.
Morgan never told Payton that I have to stab you 19 times so Slender Man doesn't kill me or my family, did she?
Correct.
In fact, what Morgan told Payton was that one of the creepypasta characters was stalking Payton.
Yes.
And Morgan even said, "We're not joking," to Payton, right?
Yes.
Morgan had been scaring Payton before this, right?
Yes.
With these creepypasta characters,
Yes.
telling Payton that one of them was going to come through her bedroom window while she slept and kill her.
Yes.
This scared Payton, right?
Yes.
And because she was so scared by this, she went to her mom, right?
Yes. Correct.
And her mom helped her out checked out this whole thing and went back to Payton and said, look, I can't find any evidence of any truth to any of this. I think you're okay. I think you can ignore it. Something along those lines?
Yes,
Payton still wasn't sure though, right?
right,
Because of the way Morgan had been scaring her, right?
yes,
Payton told you after she had been stabbed, I'm pretty sure they wanted me to stop moving around and talking so people wouldn't find me.
yes,
Payton was able to recognize the fact that Morgan and Anissa were taking off, leaving her there to die, right?
yes,
Payton told you she couldn't see, right?
yes,
She couldn't breathe.
yes,
She was able to walk out of the woods, but then collapsed on the grass, right?
yes.
She couldn't move at that point.
Yeah, she said it hurt too much.
From where Payton was, well, you're aware of where Payton was found, right?
In the grass near the road.
How far is that from Morgan's house?
Boy, a couple blocks maybe?
And from Anissa's house?
Probably about the same.
Payton told you that in around January or February of 2014 is when Morgan really started to become obsessed with this creepypasta stuff, right?
Yeah, that's when she said she started to get interested in the creepypasta.
And that's when she started to send Payton weird things through email.
Yes,
Payton was considering somewhat not being friends with Morgan anymore, right?
yes,
And at least you spoke a little bit about Payton's relationship with Anissa. You remember that?
yes,
Payton told you that Anissa is very rude, right?
yes,
She hits people,
yes,
she says bad words,
yes,
and she blames it on being tired or hungry, right?
yes,
Now, the morning that this happened, before they're at the playground or in the woods, they're back at Morgan's house. And Payton told you some things about that, right?
yes,
She told you that they were doing quizzes, right?
yes,
And in the course of doing quizzes, one of the things Anissa, I guess, was quizzing Payton on was, what if someone came up to you and started to try and stab you,
yes,
right? Payton told you about this?
yes,
Payton even told you that I thought it was really ironic that a half hour later I'm being stabbed.
yes,
Even at the time at Morgan's house, when Payton was being asked about what would you do if someone tried to stab you, she thought it was pretty strange, right?
yes,
Payton told you that Anissa acted a lot different when Morgan wasn't there, right?
yes,
And that she thought some of the bad behavior she observed by Anissa was simply Anissa's attempt to get Morgan's attention, right?
yes,
Payton told you that.
yes. She felt she was doing it to impress Morgan.
Payton told you about some other things that were kind of strange to her that morning before they left for the park, right?
Yes,
Like Morgan was packing a bag to go to the park.
yes,
That seemed strange to Payton.
yes, it did.
Why would you pack a bag? We're just going a few blocks away to play, right?
Correct.
You testified about what happened inside of this bathroom at the playground, right?
Yes,
And how at one point Morgan grabbed Payton's arms and held them behind her.
yes,
And when Morgan was doing that, Anissa was standing in front of Payton.
yes,
And Payton told you, she heard Morgan say, "We agreed you were going to do this," right?
yes,
Payton wasn't stabbed then, though, was she?
correct.
And then later on, shortly thereafter, I guess, they kind of flip-flop, and Anissa's holding Payton's arms, right?
Yes,
And Morgan's standing in front of Payton.
yes,
She's not stabbed then either, is she?
correct.
And this is all in the bathroom, right?
Yes,
After that, Payton leaves the bathroom, leaves Morgan and Anissa inside, right?
yes,
You told us that Payton recognized that Anissa was into creepypasta, but not as much as Morgan.
yes,
Payton never told you anything that about Anissa being obsessed, right?
correct.
And Anissa was never sending Payton any scary emails or anything like that?
Correct.
Do you have any of those exhibits in front of you still? or-
No,
You remember Mr. Smith showing you all of these exhibits, right?
yes,
Show you exhibit H again. You recognize that as a notebook you found in Morgan's locker at school?
yes,
Show you one of these pages again. Remember being shown this page?
yes,
You can see that in front of you?
yes,
Those are defenses against slenders, apparently, right?
yes.
Can you look at that real closely for me, Detective Fisher, and tell me where on there it indicates that a defense against Slender Man is to brutally stab Payton 19 times in the woods?
I don't see that on here.
Say anything on there about having to kill Payton as a defense against Slender Man?
No,
In any of those exhibits that Mr. Smith showed you, say anything in any of those about killing Payton?
no,
I don't have anything else, Judge, thank you.
All right, thank you. Redirect.
Just have one more, probably one more question. I just want to show you that document that you just saw on the screen there. Okay, it says defenses, right?
yes,
Okay, so what it seems to be referring to is when we see Slender Man, when we see Abbott, when we see Ben drown, when we see Jeff the Killer, when we see Maskey and Hoodie, these are things we do when we see these real live characters. Isn't that what that is?
I don't know about the real live part, but yes, this is what you should do when you see or what you should offer to these characters.
So when we get to Slender Mansion, when we get to that forest, this is what we do to protect ourselves.
Yes, some of it is for protecting yourself, and then there's other things of what you should do with these characters, like let's play hide and seek.
Okay. There's no documents that you found that talks about how we become proxies, right?
Yes.
So, I'll just leave it there, Judge.
All right, thank you. Any recross?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you. Then then Detective Fisher, is she under a subpoena?
She is, but she can do it.
Any objections?
No.
All right, then Detective, you're released. Have a good day.
Thank you.
This would be a good time to take a break.
Yes.
So we'll take about a 15-minute break at this time. All right, thank you. Please be seated. We'll be back on the record in State versus Weier, same appearances. Attorney McMahon, do you have a witness to call?
I do, sir. That would be Mr. Thomas Haynes.
Then, sir, step up, stay standing. Raise your right hand. Clerk will swear you in.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, then be seated. Then pull up to the microphone. It's the bar with the red light ahead of you.
Okay.
State your full name and spell your last name.
Sure. Full name is Thomas Haynes, Haynes.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Haynes, what do you do for a living?
I'm a teacher
And where do you teach?
in the school district of Waukesha.
And at some point in time, were you the teacher for Anissa Weier?
Yes, for 4th and 5th grade.
And the young lady I'm pointing to over here with the long hair, is that Miss Weier?
Yes,
And so you were her 4th and 5th grade teacher.
correct.
Do you recall what subjects you taught her?
She was in my homeroom, but primarily I taught math, writing, science, and social studies.
Okay. So the majority of her classes were with you?
Correct.
And that was for a 2-year period of time?
Yes.
During that time period, were you aware of any difficult circumstances that happened in Anissa's home?
I was aware of that her parents were going through a divorce.
And did she have an issue with that?
She was upset by it.
Okay. And did the school take any action to assist her?
She was part of a group of kids whose parents were also going through a divorce
So there
with
was-
our school counselor.
Okay, so the school counselor had a support group,
Yes,
and that was specifically for children whose parents were divorcing?
correct.
And Ani participated in it?
Yes.
During the time that you worked with her in 4th and 5th grade, how was she doing in school?
She was a great student, respectful. She was doing well academically.
Okay. Did she have any areas where she struggled?
Socially, maybe making friends.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit about that?
I think there was times where she would be upset that a lot of the other kids weren't including her and stuff at sometimes.
Okay.
She wanted to be friends with some, and sometimes 4th and 5th grade girls aren't the nicest.
Okay. Did you ever have occasion to talk to her about that?
Yeah, we talked quite a bit. as I do with a lot of my students.
Okay. With Anissa, were there any particular times when you spoke with her that you can recall?
I think a lot of the private conversations might have happened during lunch or recess time where we could talk privately.
Okay, so other children would be off having lunch or recess together, and she'd stay back with you?
Correct.
And was she ever tearful about the situation?
Yeah, there was times where she was crying, where she was upset.
Okay. And as a teacher, you tried to help her through it?
Yep.
And,
An area maybe she could have improved on is organization, being on time for things, at times focus,
okay.
but like I said, she was academically good.
Okay. So sometimes she had problems with focus, but she was able to do her work at a good level.
Correct.
And did she appear to be trying very hard?
She put good effort into her schoolwork, yes.
And when you said organization, can you give me an example of what the issue might be there?
I'm trying to think, maybe just, disorganized desk where she kept her supplies, her cubby. I can't think of anything else specifically.
So disorganized desk, maybe had trouble finding things
Yes,
because of the lack of organization?
correct.
Okay. But again, you had a very good relationship with her, correct?
I think so,
And she turned to you for help.
yes,
And she was placed in a group to help her through her parents' divorce.
correct.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Okay.
Thank you. Cross-examination.
No questions, Judge?
All right, thank you, sir. You're welcome. Is Mr. Haynes under subpoena?
He is, and we can release him from the subpoena. Thank you,
Any
sir.
objections?
No.
All right, you're released, sir. Have a good day. Thank you for being here.
The next witness would be Krista Crowder.
And if you'd stay standing, raise your right hand and a little higher, and our clerk will swear you in.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, then be seated. Thank you. Then state your full name and spell your last name.
My name is Krista Crowder, Krauter.
And Ms. Crowder, where do you work?
I work at Horning Middle School in Waukesha.
And what is your job?
I am a middle school flight academy advisor at Horning.
And what is Flight Academy?
It is a multi-age program for students in grades 6 through 8 where they work in an interdisciplinary approach. We combine science, social studies, reading and writing, and math, and interdisciplinary projects that the students work on and choose.
And when you say an interdisciplinary approach, what does that mean?
That means that instead of the traditional setting where students go to one math class, one social studies class, one science class throughout the day, they have 7 different periods. We try to combine those subjects together into project-based units.
And in years past, in 2013 and 14, was Anissa Weier one of your students?
Yes, she was.
And do you recognize the young lady sitting over there as Miss Weier?
Yes, I do.
And what grade was she in when she was in Flight Academy?
She was in 6th grade.
And as part of Flight Academy, she received some technology to use, correct?
Correct.
All Flight Academy students are issued, I believe, it's an iPad or?
At that time, it was just the Flight Academy students and at Horning that had iPads. Now all of our students in the district have iPads.
Okay. And they used those to work on their various projects.
Correct.
And the district had a policy that they weren't supposed to be using it for other things, correct?
Yes.
Is it fair to say that sometimes students strayed from that policy?
I would imagine there is a possibility of that.
Okay. How did Anissa like the program?
This was 3 years ago. From what I remember, she was an advocate for our program. She enjoyed the interdisciplinary approach and having more choice as to how she was learning and how she was showing what she was learning. I think that she enjoyed coming to school every day.
Okay. And you said that she was an advocate for your program. She served as a tour guide, correct?
Correct.
And what does that mean?
We have hundreds of visitors come and see us every year from across the country and world. And we often ask our students to take one of the adults on a tour of our spaces and talk to them about how they learn and what they're learning. And Anissa was one of those tour guides.
Okay. And how did she get along, to the best of your recollection, with the teachers?
Just fine.
And how was she as a student?
She was a great student. She was a leader with other students. She finished her work when we asked her to. She enjoyed learning. She worked on projects. She was a great student.
And when you gave her rules, she followed them?
Correct.
And did Anissa get along with the peers in her class?
Yes.
Was she ever upset with the other children?
That's hard for me to remember. We work with middle school students, so there are issues every day that they have. I don't remember anything out of the ordinary that happened with Anissa.
Do you remember if Anissa was thrilled when other students didn't follow the rules?
From what I remember, she wanted everybody to follow the rules, so we had, a nice day together. Everybody got along. That's what she expected from the other students.
And she would express that to other students, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And there came a time when you actually had to sit down some of the other students and talk to them about being nicer to Anissa.
I don't remember that.
Do you remember talking with Detective Casey
Yes.
years ago? And if his report indicates that you had to talk to some of the girls?
If I said that 3 years ago, it probably happened, yes.
Do you recall her as someone who had a lot of close friends?
She did have some close friends, yes.
Do you recall who they were?
Mm-hmm.
You could use initials.
She was good friends with somebody with the initials of IS and GD.
Okay. And were those children in the Flight Academy?
Yes.
And you wouldn't have seen her really with children outside of Flight Academy.
No.
So her co-defendant, for example, Morgan Geyser, you wouldn't have had opportunity to observe them together.
No.
Did her parents ever join you on any of the field trips that the group took?
Not that I remember, no.
Do you recall what interests she seemed to have?
I think that she enjoyed reading and writing, the humanities approach with social studies intermixed.
And Ms. Crowder, is there anything that would refresh your recollection as to what you told Detective Casey when you spoke with him 3 years ago?
Probably reading what I said.
Would you like to take a look at his report and see
Sure.
if it refreshes your recollection?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Does that refresh your recollection?
Of that conversation with the students, no.
Of the conversation with Detective Casey?
With Detective Casey, yes.
Okay. So were there particular interests 3 years ago that you remember that Anissa had?
Yes. Now, after reading this statements that I made, the pangolin, I remember her talking a lot about endangered animals. It was the first time I had ever heard of that animal, and it was from Anissa, and she did a project on the pangolin, and I remember learning a lot from her.
Okay. What's the pangolin?
It's a combination, it's a couple different animals. I don't remember anymore. She did a great job explaining it at the time, and I just remember that I enjoy learning from my students, and that was one example where she really taught me a little bit about that animal.
Okay. And you also indicated to Detective Casey that Anissa was someone you saw as not having very many friends.
She didn't have a lot of friends, no, but she had some close friends, like I just said.
Okay. And you also told Detective Casey that you had to sit down with some of the girls and back them off, Anissa. She needs to write down a word. Yes or no?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. And as you said, these were middle school children, so
Right.
despite the fact that these were children who've been chosen, I believe, to be in Flight Academy,
They're not chosen. They go through a lottery process, like our STEM Academy follows as well.
okay. So the children in Flight Academy who come in through the lottery process, they're just like every other middle schooler.
Is that a yes or a no?
Yes, I'm sorry.
It's hard to get
I'm
used to.
sorry.
But, so, you recall she had some close friends, but not a lot of friends.
Yes,
Some of the children weren't fond of her because, sounds like, because she was a stickler for the rules. Is that fair?
I would say that's fair.
Okay.
Yes,
And she was really devoted to endangered animals.
yeah,
Endangered animals.
yes,
You wouldn't have seen her with Morgan Geyser
no,
or Payton.
no.
Nothing further?
Thank you. Cross-examination.
Ms. Crowder, do you have any recollection as to the date that this stabbing occurred?
The date? I
Right.
know it was the end of May.
Okay. If I told you it was May 31st, 2014, would you have any issue with that?
No.
And do you recall that the stabbing actually occurred on a Saturday?
I do remember that, yes, because we weren't in school at the time.
I'm sorry, you weren't in school at the time, did you
Right.
say? Okay.
Uh-huh.
But the day before would have been a Friday and you would have been in school
Yes,
on May 30th, 2014?
yes.
Is there anything about Anissa's behavior on May 30th of 2014 that would have led you to believe she was delusional?
No,
Nothing out of the ordinary that you
nothing.
recall on that day?
No.
Do you remember telling Detective Casey that it was your opinion that Anissa had to, you believed Anissa knew the difference between fantasy and reality?
Yes.
You told Detective Casey that? Mm-hmm. And you
Sure, yes.
believed,
Yes, I'm sorry.
and you believed that to be the case?
Yes.
Nothing else, thank you.
Any redirect?
Ms. Crowder,
You believe she understood the difference between fantasy and reality.
Yes.
You never talked about creepypasta with her, did you?
No.
Or Slender Man?
No.
Or Jeff the Killer?
No.
Or anything of that nature?
No.
You talked about the things that were going on in the classroom.
Correct.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Any further cross?
No.
The ma'am, is your first name with a K or a C?
Okay.
All right, thank you. With that, you are released. If you're on a subpoena, the subpoena may be released as well, true?
Yes.
Yes, she's also under state subpoena, I believe, Your Honor. Does the state wish her to remain under subpoena?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am, have a good day. Thank you for being here. Good morning.
Morning.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Then be seated, pull up to the microphone, and state your full name and spell your last name.
Michelle Trussoni. It's T as in Tom, Russoni.
All right, thank you.
Detective, how are you employed?
I am a detective with the City of Waukesha Police Department.
And how long have you been a detective with the police department?
3 years.
Okay. And how long have you been with the police department?
17 years now.
And were you employed as a detective on May 31st, 2014?
Yes, I was.
And you were assigned to do an interview of Anissa?
Yes, I was.
And did you record your interview of her in its entirety?
Yes, I did.
I'm going to show you some videos. And I want to first start off by showing a clip that I've indicated as clip 1. It starts off at the 0 mark, and it ends at about 4 minutes and 44. And I just wanted to show you that so that you can see it, and let me know if you recognize that as the start of the interview of Anissa.
Yes, I recognize that.
Okay, and that's Anissa it's in that corner in that chair.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Your interview with her lasted an entire 3 hours, right?
I believe it's about 3 hours.
Okay, and I'm not going to show the entire thing, but there's like 3 hours of recorded interviews of her approximately on that date, correct?
Right, it wasn't continuous, but the time frame of the video is 3 hours.
Okay.
So.
And I think at the beginning of your questioning of Anissa, so when you came in there, was she crying?
She looked upset.
Okay, and I think you may have mentioned that you recognized that she was upset.
Correct.
Were there also periods later on in your questioning of her that she again became upset and possibly began to cry?
Yes.
And during your questioning of Anissa, for the most part, it was just you and her alone in the room, is that correct?
Yes, that's
I
correct.
think there were some evidence technicians that came in at one point to do some work, but for the most part, it was the two of you.
Right, it was just us, yes.
During your questioning of Anissa, did she begin to talk to you about creepypasta?
Yes, she did.
And did she talk to you about how she became aware of creepypasta?
Yes.
I'm going to show you another clip.
Slender Man creepypasta. I first heard about it on YouTube. I was watching a Minecraft mod showcase by Sky does Minecraft or something. Okay. And it said it was the creepypasta mod. So I was like, hey, what's a creepypasta? I watched the whole video and I was like, oh, that's interesting. A few months later, I asked my friend Kelly, the one who I got the skull bracelet from. Okay. I asked her who that Jack or Jeff or killer was from the creepypasta. And then she told me about Eyeless Jack and Laughing Jack. Laughing Jack is supposed to be like a clown that also targets children. And then Eyeless Jack, he wears a blue fawn mask, no mouth, two big black holes for eyes, and they're like oozing this weird black ooze. And then supposedly he eats human kidneys. Wow.
And for the record, Judge, that is the 23 minutes, 17 second to 27 minutes and 43 seconds mark.
All right, very good.
Let me just verify that, Judge. I may have given you the wrong clip. I'm sorry, I misspoke. That is the 56 minute, 34 second mark to the 57 minute, 47 second mark. And what we just saw there was, I believe, Anissa explaining to you what creepypasta was.
Yes.
And prior to meeting with Anissa, did you know anything about creepypasta?
I did not.
During your interview with her, did she share with you finding evidence on the wiki that Jeff the Killer and Slender Man were real?
Yes, she did.
And Judge, I'm going to play a clip from the 28 minute, 5 second mark to the 29 minute, 24 second mark.
So it's clip 3.
And so she said, well, we have to kill Bella to prove ourselves to the Slender? Yes. And what did you think of this when she was telling you? I was surprised, but also kind of excited because I wanted proof that he existed, because there were a bunch of skeptics out there saying that he didn't exist. And then there's a bunch of photos online and sources online saying that they did see him. Okay. So a lot of people believe that Slender actually exists. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of talk about this on the internet, I bet, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you at first thought...
At first I was kind of surprised and didn't want to do it, but later I didn't want to leave Morgan all by herself out here because who knows how many creeps are out here. So I decided to go along, tag along, so I decided to let it be. Kind of prove skeptics wrong.
Okay. So did you think that you actually had to kill somebody to do it?
Yeah.
Like for real?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so she's talking about her finding evidence of Slender Man, Jeff the Killer on the internet.
Yes.
And she's talking about, finding it on Wiki.
Right.
She talks about also going with Morgan because she's afraid of Morgan going along and encountering this creature. Is that correct?
Yes, it sounds like at first she didn't want to, but then she didn't want Morgan to go by herself.
Okay. And she says something about encountering that creature.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what term she used, but
And did she talk to you about proxies?
yes, she did.
Did she talk to you about her and Morgan wanting to become proxies?
Yes.
And did she talk to you about becoming proxies and proving Slender Man was real?
Yes, she did.
Okay, and I'm going to play clip 2, Judge. And that's from the 23-minute, 17-second mark to the 27-minute, 40.
Can we start from the beginning? So you guys, this was a birthday party, right? Okay, kind of tell me what happened.
So, there's this website called the Creepypasta Wiki.
Okay.
It's full of horror stories that are meant to purposely scare you through online literature and all that.
Okay.
And there's one of them called Slender Man. It's really Slender Man. It's Slender Man.
Oh, Slender Man, like a skinny guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he has these proxies or servants, as people call them.
Okay.
Masky and hoodie. And Morgan said, "Hey, Anissa, we should be proxies." And I was like, "Okay, how would we do that?" And that was around end of December, beginning of January.
Okay. And a proxy again, what is a proxy?
It's a servant or an apprentice.
Okay, and they're a servant of who?
They kind of don't have a choice. Slender's really big, he's head of it all, supposedly.
Okay, so Slender's the big guy.
Yeah.
The top guy. And the proxies are his puppets.
Yes, that's how people put them, puppets.
Oh, okay. Boy, I never even heard this before. Okay. And it's called Creepypasta Wiki?
Yes, ma'am.
Like W-I-K-I?
Yes.
Okay.
You can find it online.
Sure.
Search something like I Love Jack, which is another killer.
Okay.
There are killers and proxies. Proxies are apprentices to killers, and killers are either by themselves or have proxies.
And the killers have the proxies do it for them?
No.
Okay. It's either killers or proxies.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that much about proxies and all that.
Okay.
I just know what the internet has told me.
Okay. So the internet has told you that the Slender, is there just one?
Yes.
Okay. So Slender has a bunch of proxies, a bunch of puppets.
Yes.
And amongst these puppets, there are also killers?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So proxies or puppets and killers are not the same?
Yes.
Okay.
On a triangle chart, Slender would be up here.
Okay.
Then it'd be killers and then proxies.
Okay, so killers outrank the proxies.
Yeah. And then there's another creepypasta that's supposed to be really powerful. It's like Zalgo or something. It's supposedly a demon with
Okay, so what she's doing there is she's going over with you her understanding of what Slender Man is, what killers are, what proxies are.
Right, everything that she's learned.
And she even tells you at one point, you can go onto the internet, go online, you can find evidence of this yourself.
What she's been looking at, right.
Okay. And she tells you she knows all this because that's what the internet told her.
Correct.
During your questioning of Anissa, did you ask her how they were going to do it, how they were going to become proxies?
Yes.
And did she tell you that she was the one who was supposed to stab Payton?
Well, it was kind of a long, convoluted process to how it was going to happen. It was Morgan's idea that that they needed to kill Bella, and that's how they were going to become proxies.
Okay.
So,
And she did tell you that she was the one who was supposed to do the stabbing?
yes, yes.
And she did tell you, too, that she was not able to do so?
Yes, it seemed to go back and forth when she was able to and when she wasn't able to, and continued to hand the knife back and forth, right.
And she told you that happened about 2 times. At one time, it happened in a bathroom?
Right, it happened in the bathroom.
And did she tell you that that also happened, the handing the knife back and forth happened in the woods as well?
Yes, yes it did.
And did she tell you that she herself was not able to do it either one of those times?
That's correct.
And did she tell you that she was the one who did tell Morgan to do it?
Yes, she did tell me that.
And I'm going to play clip 13, Judge. That's the 2-minute, 39-second, 2 hour, 39 minutes, 14 seconds into the video. And then
You had said something before about saying go ballistic.
Yeah.
What was that? So
Like, I meant go ballistic, go crazy, make sure she's down.
that's when you start walking away.
And then after I got like 5, 10 feet away, I said now. And then Morgan said, don't be afraid, I'm only a little kitty cat.
Go ballistic, go crazy.
So that's her telling you that she did say to Morgan, do this.
Yes.
Okay, she didn't appear to try to hide her involvement in this, right?
No, not at all.
And I think there was a point when she was describing what happened, what she saw, and she began to cry. Is that true?
I don't understand.
When she was describing what she saw, when she saw the stabbing, she began to cry herself.
When she was explaining that to me?
Yes.
I believe there was a time, yes, she began to cry.
She then said that, did she tell you that after the stabbing that they had to go somewhere?
Yes.
And where did she say they needed to go?
Well, she needed to go to, once they did the stabbing, they needed to go to the Nicolay National Forest, which is where Slender Man's mansion was located.
And did she describe them having a map?
She said that, I believe she said that Morgan had memorized the map to get there in her head.
Okay, so she didn't describe actually physically having a map. It was in Morgan's mind.
Yes, as I recall.
Did she tell you that she had to walk possibly for 2 days and 18 hours, she thought, to get there, or over 2 days?
I don't remember her saying a specific time frame. She just explained that the mansion was in, I think she called it Leola or Leona, which I'm aware is in the northern part of the state. So Whether or not she told me a time frame, I don't recall, but I just know that it's quite a distance.
Okay, and she did describe it as having to walk a long, long way?
Yes, that they were going to be walking, yes.
Okay. And that's to get to the Slender Mansion?
Correct.
Okay, that's cool. Now I'm going to play clip 5, Judge.
So then, why do you have to go far away? What was this discussion about? Supposedly, Morgan found out that Slender lives in the middle of... Slender has this big mansion that all the creepypastas supposedly live in. And it's supposedly in the middle of Nicollet National Park, or Forest, or whatever. Okay. Up in Lula, Wisconsin. So we were gonna walk the whole way there. I realize it's really, really far.
And did Anissa tell you anything about, after they left, stopping at a Walmart?
Yes.
Did she tell you that they each became to a point where they had nervous breakdowns as they were walking?
Yes, towards the end of their walk, which was well past the Walmart and whatnot, but she said that they both had somewhat of a nervous breakdown.
Did she talk to you about, as they were walking to Slender Mansion, asking Slender Man's help as they were walking to his mansion?
Yes, I recall, I believe Morgan had called out and asked for Slender Man's help.
Okay, I'm going to play clip 9.
Yeah, whenever I'm really bored, I go on my iPad and I go to the creepypasta Wikia, and then there's a button you can click for random pasta. I read whichever random one comes up.
And so in reading these, you truly believe that Slender exists, that there's Slender out there in your
Not
mind?
anymore, because we asked for his help when Morgan and I were having nervous breakdowns, and he didn't do anything. Nothing happened.
Before this today, leading up to and even after,
While we were walking and having a nervous breakdown while I was laying on the side of the road, Morgan said, "Slender, if you're listening, please help us." And he says having a nervous breakdown, and then she started kind of crying.
but you truly believe beforehand,
I believed, but now I know that it's just teenagers who really like scaring people and making them believe false things.
So she says in that clip that as they were walking, they were calling out for Slender Man.
Yes, Morgan did, yes.
Okay. And she also says that before the stabbing, she really believed that Slender Man was real.
Yes.
After they were leaving, after they left Walmart and they were walking, I think they walked for a couple hours. Did she tell you that they ran out of water?
Yes.
Okay, and did she tell you that they stopped at Steinhoppel's to refill their water bottles?
Yes, I believe they filled up both at Walmart and at Steinhoppel's.
Okay, so the 2 water bottles that they took to carry all the way to Slender Man's mansion and Nicollet National Forest, they were completely out of water before they even left Waukesha.
Right, yes.
Did Anissa tell you that she really believed that Slender Man existed?
Well, in the clip that you just played, that's what she explains.
Okay. And did she tell you that at another point as well?
She said that there were skeptics out there and she wanted to prove them wrong.
Okay, I'm going to play clip 4, Judge.
On the creepypasta wiki, but he's actually a real person, Jeffrey Woods. He supposedly murdered his whole family somewhere in there, found that out, and we're just like, okay, so we know at least Jeff is real.
Okay.
So we got our hopes up and thought that everybody else was real.
Okay. And then Jeff is called what online?
Jeff the Killer. And supposedly he
he went insane, so he burned off his eyelids and took a butcher knife and cut a big smile into his face. And his supposedly long black hair about down to here, and ice blue eyes. That's what the wiki said also.
And he killed a bunch of people?
Mm-hmm. Including his own family. That's what the news report said anyway.
Okay. So he's considered a slender?
No, he's considered a killer.
He's considered a killer. Okay. Hence Jeff the killer.
Yep.
Okay. And he's known to exist. News reports say that he exists.
If you go on Google Images and search Jeffrey Wood's news article, a bunch of news articles will come up, and then there'll be a picture of, a 17-year-old boy with, who kind of looks like me, but it was a black and white picture, and he had kind of the same hair as me also.
Okay. Did you cut your hair to make it look like his?
No.
No.
It was just coincidence.
And so you guys knew that Jeff the killer, an actual killer in this triangle, exists, so you thought it would be exciting to find out, hey, if we can be a proxy and prove and do this, kill Bella, then we know that Slender exists.
If we saw him, actually, we think we see him sometimes.
Okay.
Like when we were walking up to where we were going, we saw him, I saw him out of the corner of my eye on this side.
Okay.
And then Morgan said she heard a twig crack when no one was moving.
So today, after everything happened with Bella, when you guys were walking, you thought you saw Slender as you were walking?
This was after Morgan stabbed her.
Okay. So you thought that possibly you would see a Slender?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, so in that clip, in the timestamp is 29 minutes, 24 seconds to 32 minutes and 33 seconds. What she's telling you is that based upon her ability to confirm the existence of some creepypasta characters through the internet, she believed that Slender Man was real.
Yes.
And she also explains to you that she found newspaper articles that verified the real-life existence of some of the characters.
Yes, that's what she...
And one of the ones that she was telling you that she was able to find confirmation of was Jeff the Killer.
Right.
Right, and she said that she found all this stuff on the wiki.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She went
Yes.
on the internet.
Yes.
And she found newspaper reports.
Yes.
She said you'd go and just do a Google images search. What you'll find is newspaper articles, images of Jeff the Killer.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. And she also told you that she has herself seen Slender Man, right?
She said that she saw blips, I believe, glimpses of him twice.
And even after the stabbing, she said that she saw Slender Man as she was walking towards Slender Mansion.
That's the first time that she told me she saw him.
Okay. And you actually indicated also that there were times where she told you that she saw Slender Man prior to the stabbing?
Yes.
And she said that did she say she personally saw him about 2 times as she was riding on the school bus?
Yes.
Okay, Judge, and I'm going to play clip number 10.
Morgan then said, we have to kill Bella today. And I was like, but can't we stay another night and do it tonight? Because I was still kind of scared and kind of hopeful.
Scared and kind of hopeful. What do you mean by that?
Like, I was scared because, A, I would never see my family again. And B, I was kind of hopeful to prove that I wasn't crazy, that I wasn't seeing things. Because even I saw Slender a few times.
Okay.
think that was probably my mind playing tricks on me.
When was this before the party that you saw Slender? You've seen him before?
Twice. Once, well, they were both on a bus. We ride the same bus, just to and from school. So we were, like, talking on the bus. I look out the window and I see this, supposed thing standing like this, with tendrils, looks exactly like a tree. They were going like that. And, I told Morgan, and so I actually thought that he was real, because I saw him.
So there's a few things that she said there. She said that on the bus riding to school that she saw Slender Man 2 times, correct?
Yes.
And she also said that one of the things that was going to be hard for her was to, when she left to go to Slender Mansion, she was not going to ever see her family again, right?
Correct.
And I believe she told you as well that Morgan has seen Slender Man previously as well. That was...
I don't recall. I know she said that she heard a twig snap from the wind, but I don't recall if Morgan had said that she has seen it.
Up
Seen
to
him as
clip
well.
11.
December or January, Morgan, who also was into creepypasta, did you introduce her to it, or did she already know about it?
She said that she's seen Slender also in like old pictures that she has.
Okay.
So I told her about them, and then she said, "Oh my God, I think I saw Slender when I was like 5, because she supposedly used to live in like a really heavily wooded area.
Okay.
Slender likes to stay in woods.
Wooded areas. Okay. So in December and January, Morgan approaches you and says, she tells you that you should be proxies of Slender, or puppets. And you say, okay, well, how do we do that? And she says, well, we have to kill Bella, or Payton, right? And this will prove ourselves to Slender.
And prove ourselves worthy.
Prove yourselves worthy to Slender. And what would that do for you? Is that to get Slender to like you? Or to feel important?
Technically, if you're a proxy, you have to live in, supposedly you live in Slender Mansion and take orders directly from him.
So that'd be neat to you? You would enjoy that, or you think that'd be kind of cool? Or at the time?
At the time it was really cool, but I wanted to prove all skeptics wrong.
Okay.
So in that clip, she says that when she and Morgan are talking about the Slender, Morgan reveals that when she was younger and lived near the woods, she saw Slender Man as early as that.
Yes.
Okay, and she says that's something Morgan told her that's basically proof that Slender Man's real.
Yes.
She also and I want to back up a little bit. The recording that we're seeing right now, that was your interview, your meeting with Anissa when she was 12 years old, correct?
Yeah. Yes, that's
and
correct.
that was the same day that the stabbing occurred?
Yes.
Okay. Now, at some point, did Anissa tell you that Morgan made some sort of deal with Slender Man?
Yes, she did.
And did she tell you that Morgan said that if they did not follow through with the deal, that Slender Man will kill their families?
Yes.
And did Anissa tell you that she had to do it because of that danger that her family was in?
Well, that statement that Morgan had said to Anissa was made after the stabbing. That that she had made the deal with Slender Man that if Payton wasn't killed, that Slender Man would hurt their family. So that was after the stabbing?
Well, I'll play clip 7 for you.
When Morgan said to you that if we don't do this for Slender, our families and loved ones are going to be killed, do you honestly believe that?
Well, yeah, because he could be anywhere from 6 feet to 14 feet tall. He's, like I said, a tall guy who constantly wears a suit with a red tie. He doesn't have a face. His skin is white. And at his own will, he can exploit these tendrils from his back and strangle his victims. And from what the creepypasta wiki said, he targets children most. And so I was really scared, knowing that Slender could easily kill my whole family in 3 seconds.
Okay, so she's talking about characteristics of Slender Man, right?
Correct, yes.
And she talks about his ability to appear out of thin air.
Right,
And she talks about her belief that that's how quickly he can move.
right.
And she talks about her belief that her family would be in danger if that did not occur, the stabbing, right?
Yes, since Morgan had made that deal, yes.
Again, this is your questioning of Anissa, just parts of it, and I want to acknowledge this is not the entire interview that you conducted with her, right?
Right, right,
The entire thing, again, it lasted like 3 hours,
right.
okay? And throughout your interview with Anissa that day, she continued to maintain that before that stabbing, she believed that Jeff the Killer, Slender Man were real, right?
She believed that Jeff the Killer was real, and she wanted to prove the skeptics wrong that Slender Man was real.
Okay, and
So,
after the stabbing, she said that she and Morgan were on their way to Slender Mansion, where
Correct.
they were going to meet up with Slender Man.
correct.
Okay, I just have a few other questions. They're not related to the interview you did of Anissa, but I believe you engaged in some other investigation as a part of your role in this offense, correct?
Yes,
And I think one of the things that you did, or you talked to Payton's mother, correct?
yes, I did.
And I believe that you talked to Payton's mother about Morgan,
Yes, I did.
correct? And did Payton's mother provide you with some information about her concern about Morgan?
She did.
And what did she say about Morgan?
Boy, specifically, I don't recall. The one story I remember her saying is, I think that Morgan had been over to their house maybe just a brief couple of times. And one time in particular, she had been in the basement of Payton's house and lit something on fire.
Okay.
And that was concerning to her mother.
Okay, might it have been the carpet?
I don't remember specifically. I think it had something to do with a candle, I believe, but I don't recall specifically.
Did she say anything about concern about her daughter and the relationship that her daughter had with Morgan?
She did have some concerns. I believe that Morgan had started a rumor a while back about Payton, and I think throughout that whole incident, I don't think she was real happy with their friendship, but Payton wanted to keep it going and forgave Morgan, essentially.
Okay, because her mother was so concerned at one point that she wanted to try to put an end to that relationship.
I believe so, yes.
I don't have any other questions.
All right, thank you. Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Trussoni, you, in this particular case, sorry about that. You were the first police officer in the city of, well, strike that. You took a long interview with the defendant in this case, correct?
Yes, I did.
The video says it's 3 hours and 20 minutes. It's roughly 3 hours and 20 minutes.
That's how long the video ran, yes.
I know there's a few minutes apparently at the beginning where Anissa is sitting in a room all by herself. That was
Yes.
while you were doing other things?
Yes, I think I was grabbing her some water.
And at some point, you said there may have been a moment or two where another officer entered the room. At some point, you took some evidence from her fingernail scrapings and such, correct?
Right, Specialist Plata is our evidence unit specialist, and he came in and collected DNA from her in her clothing.
But in terms of specific questions about the incident, you didn't, he didn't ask any questions of Anissa while he was in the room, other than things related to things she needed to do to give him the evidence he needed.
Right, I stepped out of the room, but I've watched the video. He didn't ask her, as far as I can recall, anything particular in reference to the case, just explaining to her the DNA collection.
And at some time later in the interview, she said she's cold and she's brought a couple of blankets, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
In fact, throughout the interview, it seems to me you were doing your best to make sure she was as comfortable given the circumstances as possible. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
All right. Now, Mr. Smith, just a moment ago, played you clip 7 where Anissa is talking about how Slender Man could hurt her or her family, correct?
Yes.
In terms of the chronology of this interview, though, isn't it true that that was said relating to what Slender Man could do to her, but not what she knew prior to the incident? And what I mean by that, and I'm going to firm up that question because I don't think it's a very good one. She told you she didn't know about this deal Morgan had made with Slender Man until after the incident.
That's correct.
So when you're asking her this question, or the question comes up about whether Slender Man can hurt her, it's just in the context of Slender Man in general, correct?
That's correct.
It's not in terms of the context of, at the time you did this, did you do it because Slender Man could hurt you or your family?
Right.
In fact, it was very clear, was it not, that Anissa did not know about the deal Morgan made until after the incident?
Right, she didn't know about the deal that Morgan had made with Slender Man until they were well into their walk, almost to the interstates, is my understanding of where they were when she had her nervous breakdown.
And she reiterated that on at least a couple of occasions during your interview, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. I'm going to show you a clip that begins at 22:38 and runs for approximately 15 seconds. Whoops. All right, what am I doing wrong with the audio cable? Turn it up on your computer. Thank you. Let's try that now.
Is that a yes? The funny thing about this was I didn't know I was in danger until after, Morgan
So basically, that clip went from 22:38 to 2300, correct?
Yes.
Or 23 minutes, I should say, on the
3
dot.
minutes, yes.
Now, I know it's somewhat hard to hear that clip, so did I ask you to listen to that closely?
You did.
In fact, did you listen to it over and over at my request?
I did.
Probably to the point where you were sick of me? And is it your belief that what she says there is, the silly thing about this was I didn't, and then she says something inaudible, no, I was in danger until after inaudible, Morgan stabbed Payton, or Bella as we call her.
Yes, that's right.
So in that clip, she's verifying to you that she didn't know anything about this deal or that she was in danger from Slender Man till well after the stabbing had already taken place.
That's correct.
And in fact, that comes up again a second time, and on that occasion, you are now talking once again to her about, as I understand, the walk to Steinhoffels, or the walk that ends up near Steinhoffels, correct?
Okay.
And at that point, does she tell you something about Morgan now telling her about this deal?
Yes.
What does she say, roughly?
She said that she kind of stopped walking. She said that she had a nervous breakdown, and as she's telling me this, she started crying, and she said that Morgan, I believe that she wanted to go back. I don't recall if this is when she said she wanted to go back home, but she says essentially that Morgan tells her, well, you didn't know this, but I made a deal with Slender Man that if Bella wouldn't have been killed, then Slender Man would go ahead and kill our families and possibly us.
And she specifically says that in the context of that she didn't know it until that moment.
Correct.
That Morgan says to her, you didn't know this, but.
Right, yes. Yeah, that's correct.
All right. This clip begins at 45:24.
Hill that could like go either up on top of the freeway or this way towards the airport. Okay. So we were walking, and then I had a total nervous breakdown and blamed Morgan for everything. I said, you stabbed her, you wanted to do this. Look at what Morgan did. Then Morgan's not one to cry very often, and then finally she just let go and started crying. And then I just needed to vent because I was scared. I was scared. I was scared, A, for myself, and B, for my family, because after we left Payton in the woods, close to the marshy area that was nearby, she said, oh, and there was one thing I forgot to tell you. I kind of sort of made a deal with Slender, saying that if we didn't kill Bella, that he was either would or could kill our families and everything we love, and I don't want that to happen, so that's why I did this.
All right, so that ends at 46:43. Is that the conversation you were talking about just a moment ago?
Yes.
And she specifically says, I didn't tell you this before.
Right. Yes.
Thank you. Now, at some point, did you have a conversation with Anissa about her belief in Slender Man and whether she still believed in Slender Man?
Yes, I did.
And did she, in fact, specifically tell you, in response to a question, does it worry you won't see Slender, or do you think he does not exist? Response, he does not exist. Did that happen?
Yes.
And then you said, okay, and she said, he is a work of fiction, and I believe that people who say they have seen him in person have read creepypasta and then recall memories of strange trees instead of Slender. Because I know there was one of the cases on the bus, I looked back at the tree and it was strange. Is that a correct response?
Correct, yes.
So by that point, probably 3/4 of the way through the interview, she's already disavowing a belief in Slender Man, correct?
Yes, I think she had even said it a couple of times throughout our interview that she now recognizes that he is not real.
And at some point, I know there was a conversation about how Morgan, when she was told to go berserk and stab Payton, said something about being a kitty cat, correct?
Morgan said that, yes.
And you asked Anissa about that, correct?
Yes, well, Anissa had explained to me during the events of just prior to Payton being stabbed that is what Morgan had said to Payton.
In fact, what she said to you when you asked her about that was, she said she was going to draw cat whiskers on her face when she became a proxy, and that would be her catchphrase, like with Jeff the Killer. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
So it wasn't she was saying that she's a nice little kitty cat. It was going to be her creepypasta, Slender Man catchphrase.
Yes.
And in your conversations with Anissa, did it appear to you that what she was really saying to you when she had that nervous breakdown on the walk was that Morgan was afraid she would leave her on the walk to Nicolay alone and she couldn't do it?
I'm sorry, can you ask me that again?
Sure. Morgan at some point was concerned that Anissa wanted to go back home, correct?
Yes, she was.
And she basically tried to coerce Anissa into not doing so.
Yeah, I believe that Anissa had said at one point in time on the walk that, I'm done, I don't want to walk anymore, I want to go home, I want to see my family, and Morgan had said if we do this now, I believe she made a reference to being arrested and executed, so being held responsible.
And at that point then, Anissa acquiesced and continued walking, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Officer, I'm showing you what's been marked exhibit number 3. Do you recognize that?
Yes, it's my statement that I wrote from Anissa.
And basically what happens here is after some lengthy period of time conversing with Anissa, you take what she said to you and you boil it down to what you think are the important points and put it in what turns out to be a 6-page statement. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. It's a synopsis.
And at the end of that, you read that statement back to Anissa, correct?
Yes, I did.
And in that statement, there's nothing to the effect of Anissa saying, before we did this, we did it because Morgan said if we didn't, Slender Man would kill us or our family. There's nothing in there like that, is there?
No, there's nothing in her statement saying that.
And yet, you did read that to her, correct?
I read the statement to her when I was done writing it, yes.
And you asked her if she had any changes or corrections she wanted to make to it, correct?
That's correct.
And she had 2 changes or corrections she wanted to make to it. She wanted to clarify something about the proxies and what they were, and added something about Zalgo or something to that, name to that effect, Zalgo, Z-A-L-G-O.
Yes.
And she also wanted you to put down that at Steinhoffel's they had gotten some fruit snacks. Is that also correct?
That's correct.
But at no point did she say, oh, and by the way, you really should put in there that the reason I did this is because I thought if I didn't, Slender Man would kill me or my family. She never said that, to add that to the statement, did she?
She did not.
And it's not in there, is it?
It is not.
I have no further questions.
Thank you. Redirect.
Okay. When you were talking to Anissa in that room, she told you over and over again that she believed that Jeff the Killer was real.
Yes, she did.
And Jeff the Killer, did you do research on Jeff the Killer?
I did a little research on creepypasta itself and Slender Man just to try to grasp an idea of what she was trying to explain to me.
Did you find a real-life Jeff the Killer?
I found the articles, I guess, that she was talking about. There are images out there, but the ones that I found appeared to be drawn. But I did find Jeff the Killer online.
And you saw articles, newspaper clippings of Jeff the Killer?
One article I can recall, yes.
Okay. Jeff the Killer is a fictional character then?
I believe he is, yes.
She said she believed Jeff the Killer was real.
That's correct.
And one of the things that she said to you during that interview is that she had been seeing Slender Man, and she wanted to do this so that she can prove that she wasn't crazy because she was seeing Slender Man.
She did say that at one time.
She said to you that she believed he may not be real because as they were walking to Slender Mansion, he didn't come there to help them.
Right, when Morgan called out for him.
Before that, she believed Slender Man was real.
She wanted to prove the skeptics wrong. I don't know if she really believed that he was real. She believed that Jeff the Killer was real, and so then she got her hopes up that Slender Man would be real. So I don't know if that she really truly believed that Slender Man was real, because she continuously told me that she wanted to prove the skeptics wrong.
Okay, but she told you that she saw Slender Man as she was riding the bus.
She did. She said that she thought she saw glimpses of him.
Okay, and she told you that she saw evidence online on the internet that creepypasta characters were real.
She saw both.
Right, and she told you that her close friend Morgan saw Slender Man when she was 5 years old.
Yes, that's what she said, yes.
Okay, and she was exchanging that evidence with Morgan before this stabbing occurred.
Yes, they were, yes. They were both exchanging information on Slender Man together. Is that what you were asking?
Right.
Okay, yes.
And over the time period that they both were introduced to creepypasta, the two of them were going back and forth, as far as you're aware, exchanging their evidence that creepypasta characters were real.
Yes, they were exchanging the different, sounds like they were talking with each other about creepypasta and Slender Man.
And that written statement, lastly, that you wrote down, that's something that you wrote in your own handwriting?
That's correct.
Okay, that's not something that Anissa wrote down herself?
Right.
Okay. Just lastly, when she was referring to you or talking to you about Morgan and that relationship, she described her relationship with Morgan as close, right?
Yes, I believe she said they felt like they were sisters.
Okay. No other questions.
Thank you. Any recross?
Just a couple of things. I want to make sure I have the progression correct. At the beginning of the interview, she's professing a belief in Slender Man.
Yes.
Somewhere near the middle, when he doesn't come when they ask him for help, she's skeptical that he exists.
Right.
And then by the end, she gives that answer that we talked about before, that she doesn't believe he exists.
She knows that he doesn't exist, yes.
Did you find her responses in your conversations with her similar to, say, a 10-year-old who is skeptical about Santa Claus but hopes that he still exists?
Yes, I would say that's fair.
You were asked about whether the statement was in your handwriting, and you said that it was.
Yes.
But you went over it word for word with Anissa, correct?
Correct. And then as I write the statement, I ask her a question again. I write her answer down, make sure that's how she wants it, because these are her words. So that's how I take the statement.
In fact, there's a couple of places where you scratched out a word and you had Anissa initial that change had been made, correct?
Right. Outside of the changes that she wanted added in, I made grammatical errors, made sure that she was aware that I made the grammatical errors. She saw it and then initialed next to it. And then because they're scratched out, so it doesn't look like I went ahead and changed the statement afterwards.
And then when it's all done on the bottom of each page, you have her sign that it's correct and it's what she wanted to have you say.
Correct, yep.
Nothing further.
Any redirect?
Just a few other questions. This states exhibit number 3. This wasn't prepared 30 minutes into the interview, right?
What So your question is when did I write it?
You didn't write it down 30 minutes into the interview.
No,
You didn't write this down even an hour into the interview.
no, I didn't.
You didn't write it down an hour and a half into the interview.
I don't recall specifically when I began writing it, but once I received all the information and kind of got an idea of what happened, then I began writing the statement.
So that would have been towards the end of the 3-hour interview.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Any further cross?
No, sir, thank you.
All right. And is Detective Trussoni under subpoena?
Yes.
She released?
Yes.
State, any objection?
No objection at all.
All right, then thank you, Detective. Have a
You'd
good
like
day.
this?
I'll take
Okay.
that back.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
It's a work of fiction. I cited all this stuff. Maybe you know what's down here. Yes, I do.
What is the, your schedule for witnesses, Attorney Smith?
We have one of the doctors on subpoena for 1:30. Would the court be willing to recess until then?
Yes, so there's nobody else here right now.
Not at this moment. We also have Detective Carpenter coming at the same time.
All right, but Detective Carpenter's not here.
Carpenter.
No.
All right, all right. Well, we will then recess to 1:30. The lunch plans will be similar to those yesterday. So we'll be in recess to that time.